Hey, what's up guys, Sir Emanon here, and welcome to another episode of Inside DB Rated. This is the dual commentary series where we go ahead and spectate random matches on DB's ladder and just check out what people are playing. So this is going to be a match between Entropy 1227 on PK, or Famine Knights, versus LMAO Cutie Pie on Dragon Link. And several of you guys did request this deck to be featured on the series, so figured I'd show it off today. But as usual guys, if you want to go ahead and send in your own replays, feel free to check out my Discord server where I have a dedicated channel for that. But let's get started with this matchup here without any further ado. Also, shout out to my PC for literally crashing in the middle of my last recording randomly, just forcing me to do this again. But we're going to go ahead and see the Famine Knight player win the RPS here, and they are going to choose to go first. Really nothing too surprising there. So the opening hand for PK going first is going to be Rhoda, Kagemucha Knight, Red Eyes Black Dragon, Stained Greaves, and the Ancient Cloak. So we got the Ferocious Dragon with a deadly attack. But the hand's definitely pretty solid. Can use Rhoda to grab maybe a starter in Torrent Scales, and has a bunch of level 3 extension, which is generally what we just want to see with this deck for sure. And then the opening hand for Dragon Link going second is going to be Rocket Synchron, Chamber Dragon Maid, Tracer, Recharger, and Quick Launch. So literally 4 rockets in this hand here. So quite a lot. No dedicated go second cards though, or hand traps, so it's going to be full combo from PK here. So we're going to see a normal summon of Ancient Cloak actually, not going for the Rhoda to start things off, but that's going to allow the Kagemucha Knight to trigger and then summon itself to the field. And then those two will be linked off for what I'd imagine is a Cherubini. And then going to use the Cherubini effect, that's going to send the Graph and then summon out a copy of Seer. And then going to link those two away for a copy of the Rusty. And then going to go ahead and Seer bring back the Cherubini. Yeah, so I guess not going for Torrent Scales plays better around maybe cards like potentially Gamma, although there was a decent enough pitch fodder and a Kagemucha Knight, so it was possibly still worth going for, but this definitely works. Generally, if you want to play around a Bureau, it's nice to be able to try and get a Ragged Gloves into Graveyard via like Cherubini or otherwise, because then your opponent really can't Nibiru you, since if they do it on summon, you can just like send a trap and bring back the Rusty, and if they don't, then you just activate Rusty, so it's pretty good. But regardless, we're going to carry on here. Rusty effect is going to mill a copy of Torrent Scales, and then the Rank Magic will be set here. So going for a Dark Rebellion play, or Requiem play, I should say. Ancient Cloak is going to be banished next from the graveyard. That's going to add a copy of Silent Boots to hand. And then from here, we're going to see Torrent Scales be summoned back to the field. And then we're going to summon the Silent Boots here. And that triggers the Stained Greaves in hand as well. So just getting a whole bunch of bodies on the board right now. Going to overlay for a Levier. And this is going to bring back the banished Ancient Cloak in attack position, because we are going to use the effect to boost our own Rusty. Definitely don't want to be forgetting about this, because the attack boost is until the end of your opponent's next turn, which is definitely quite good. We're going to see a link into a copy of Verite Anaconda, in fact, and then going to go for a copy of Breaksword. Going to trigger the Rusty, popping the Breaksword, very, very common play, of course. Going to bring back the 2 Famine Knights, and then they become level 4, so we can now overlay into a copy of Dark Rebellion. And then Verite Anaconda activates, that's going to pay 2,000, and then send the fusion materials to summon out a copy of Dragoon as well. So Silent Boots will then search a copy of Fall Blade, and then we can rotate at the end here, I guess, to get better Dragoon fodder, which is going to be Torrent Scales as the pick. And then we're going to set the Fall Blade and then pass turn. So we got a Dark Requiem, which will represent 3 potential monster negations, as well as a pop from Rusty. We got Dragoon, and then we got Fog Blade. So potentially we got 6 interruptions here, which is quite good. What do you rank up into? Azathoth? Imagine if Azathoth wasn't banned. That card can never come back. Just gonna say that right now. You'd have to ban way too many cards around it. Like you'd have to ban Yarla, so rank 4 decks can't go into it on their own turn, and then you have to ban like all the rank ups that are now like super giga searchable. This deck being an example, but I think they're also getting support in Lightning Overdrive, where they literally just have a new searcher for not Phantom Knights, rank ups. So you're gonna have to definitely ban a lot of cards around Azathoth if you want to bring it back. So probably best to just keep that one locked up here. But we're gonna see a top deck Phantasme for turn. This is a pretty interesting card. We've seen it a lot in Dragon Link specifically. It is searchable via cards like Brotar and Seyfried if you like pitch something like a Absorrouter, for example. But yeah, a bit too late here to draw that for turn. We're going to see a normal summon Chamber, and then use the effect, and then going to chain the Rank Magic, of course. Since they do have turn player priority for the first action, they're going to be allowed to normal summon that before this gets to be used, since it can only be used in the main phase. But regardless, we're going to see the Dark Requiem hit the board, and then Chamber resolves for Tidying. And then on Resolution, Rusty's going to activate. That's going to pop the Chamber. And then from here, going to... Oh, that's just going to be a concession. All right, fair enough. Yeah, that hand was, again, just 4 rocket names, basically, with the only real extension being the Quick Launch. So that was definitely not going to be enough to break past all that board. So we're now going to move into game number 2 here, where it looks like Dragon Link is going to start things off. If you guys are enjoying the video, be sure to drop a like, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe for more commentary similar to this. But the opening hand for Dragon Link going first this time around is going to be Phantasme, Warlike Guard Dragon, Quick Launch, Nibiru, and Rocket Synchron. So drawing Phantasme again. So ironically, in this hand, there were more go second cards, even though this is a go first game. But definitely there is enough to combo here for sure, drawing some of the best extenders in the deck. Also, let me know what you guys think about the alt art of Phantasme. I'm personally not a big fan of it, but I'm curious what you guys think in the comments below. But anyways, carrying on here, the opening hand for Fam Knights going second is going to be Nibiru, Double Kagemucha Knight, Silent Boots, and Jackalope. So, has a hand trap for going second, which is pretty good. Although this hand might be able to push past it, we'll just have to see when it is used. But yeah, only one PK in this hand, notably. So they're going to summon a copy of Rocket Synchron as their normal, and then go into a Striker Dragon that's going to trigger for a search of Boot Sector Launch. And then from here, they're going to actually use Warlike Guard Dragon right away. That's going to bring back the Rocket Synchron. And then go for the Fiber, actually. So Fiber Effect is going to summon out the second copy of Rocket Synchron from deck. Yeah, this is standard to play too now, just for situations like this. And also, because of the focus on Chaos Ruler, it's nice to be able to make plays like Hot Red, which is a super, super nice card. Going to link that away for a copy of LP, and then... Oh, I think that was a misclick. Yeah, meant to use the Warlike Guard Dragon to move it first. And then LP triggers, so that's going to summon out Brotar. I'm trying to count summons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, this is definitely in Nibiru range, so choosing not to use Nibiru here, which is pretty interesting. Brotar going to activate, that's going to pitch the Phantasme to grab a copy of Levianeer. This person's a fan of their alt arts, I see. But going to leak away the Brotar for a Pisty, and then Pisty effect is going to bring back the Rocket Synchron. And then from here, going to link it to a copy of Romulus. Romulus effect is going to grab a search for a copy of Ravine. And then it looks like they're going to drop Nibiru here. Pretty interesting. So they let LP and Pisty and Romulus resolve. So that put Brotar in grave, Levy in hand, and Ravine. So dragons can definitely push past this. Because even regardless of the quick launch, they would have access to Tracer here. Because like Ravine pitch... send Abstractor to grab Tracer, and then summon off Boot would be a good extender, as well as Levy. So I think this Nibiru maybe could have been timed a little bit differently for sure. Possibly a bit earlier to like just prevent all these resources from hitting the board. But anyways, we're going to move here with the Levianeer, so that's going to banish 3 Darks, and then rip a card out of the hand. Let's see what the hit is. Dueling Book is going to roll 6 a bunch of times, and then I think the Fam Knights of Silent Boots was picked there. Yep. Yeah, lately I've just been like on Dueling Book whenever a random hand effect like Levy is used. I just pick now. Like I don't even bother with the dice anymore. It's just faster. It's random anyways. But we're gonna see a quick launch be used. That's going to summon out Tracer from deck, and then we're going to be thinking here actually. Tracer is going to use the effect to actually pop the Warlike Guard Dragon to bring out Recharger from deck, and then from here going to synchro off into a copy of Chaos Ruler. So Chaos Ruler is going to mill some pretty good choices here. So we see the Dragon Maid's Hiding being milled, but no Chamber. This is potentially a Noctivision or a Phantasme grab here. So the pick is going to be Phantasme. And then we're going to see a Ravine activation. That's going to pitch the Boot, actually, and then send a copy of Seifert. That was interesting, because Seifert was already in grave due to the Chaos Ruler, so I do wonder why that was the choice there. But we're going to see a Seal being summoned. Actually, I think that is under the Tracer lock, though. Yeah, they definitely use Tracer to summon out Recharger, so yeah. I don't know if they catch it here. Looks like they're activating Safer to add back Levy. Yeah, they definitely didn't catch this. You do want to keep track of Tracer for sure, because that is one of the reasons why you want to like save Tracer till the end. So just be mindful of that. But we're going to see a Banish of a Light and a Dark for Chaos Ruler. Okay, so maybe that's why they sent the second Safer to have another light target in grave. And they want to keep Nibiru in hand. So that's fair enough. Then they're going to banish 3 more Darks for Levy, and then go into a copy of Zombie Stein. This is a card we haven't seen since Danger Thunder, I believe. But this card requires 2 level 8 Darks, and then as a quick effect, you can detach the material, and then send a card from your hand to the grave to target a face-up card your opponent controls. Change this card to defense position, and if you do, that face-up card has its effects negated until the end of the turn. So it's a pretty interesting disruption. I was expecting Sanafon because that's the go-to right now, but this is a pretty unique option here as well, which explains as well why they went for Brotar and Legionnaire off the LP instead of something like Chamber, because I guess they're valuing the rank 8 plays. Pretty fascinating. They're gonna pass here, and then the top deck's gonna be the Ferocious Dragon with a deadly attack. This card is glued to this player's hand, so we'll see how they can force out the board here. It's gonna be pretty tough actually, because there is a fair amount of follow-up. So actually just going to go straight into the battle phase. That's going to force the seal here, bouncing back the Nibiru to hand, and then seal effect, going to summon out Chamber from deck, and then Chamber is going to grab a search for a copy of Tidying, and then in main phase 2, going to normal summon the Hcabe Merchandite, and then special summon the other one. Yeah, now there's no PKs in the hand, because the only one was shuffle back off Levy, so it's going to be all up to this Cherubini to kind of get there. So Cherubini is going to hit the board, and then going to use the effect. Or on summon, it looks like Phantasma is going to be used first. So that's going to draw Triple Tactics, Talon, and Quick Launch. Those are some pretty good ones. Going to put back the Triple Tactics. And then Cherubini is going to activate. That's going to send Graph. And then Graph to summon out Seer. This sends for cost, so obviously not worth negating. And then going to link off into a copy of Rusty. And then going to bring back the Cherubini off Seer here. And then going to activate Rusty. Probably going to negate that with Zombie Stein. Pitching the Tiding. Oh, it misread the card. Yeah, it's just a negation of a face-up card. This card doesn't really come up that often right now, but it's pretty interesting. It does lose to stuff like Ghost Ogre, which is pretty funny. But going to go ahead and pass here. So the top deck is going to be Rocket Tracer. So they know that Nibiru is in hand because they bounced it back with Seal. So as long as they don't play into it, should be good to go. Gonna switch to Zombie Stein back into attack position, and then normal summon Tracer, and then go into a copy of Seal. And then going to bring back the Chaos Ruler, and then switch the token to attack position. I'm not sure if that was before entering battle phase or after, but I mean, it's DB rated. I don't think most people like generally care, but we're gonna see the attack over the board here. And that is going to be the end of game 2. Yeah, that was definitely enough for game. I'm just trying to read the chat here. I'm not very good at reading chat and also commentating at the same time. I should probably just focus on the game here. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff. But we're going to move to game 3. And Fam Knights are going to go first yet again. Before we get started in game 3 here, just want to shout out my patrons as usual. So thank you guys so much for supporting the content. It really does mean a lot to me. The long form and consistent content is made possible thanks to you guys. And if you do want to help support the channel via the Patreon, feel free to check that out in the description box below. But we're going to now carry on into game 3, where the opening hand for Fam Knights going first is going to be Red Ice Fusion, Monster Reborn, Hcabe Merchandite, Danger Jackalope, and Call by the Grave. Man, these Red Ice cards are just always in the hand here. You really do hate to see it. So I'm interested as to what the play is going to be from this hand, because it is a little bit awkward. No PKs in this hand. And then the opening hand for Dragon Link going second is going to be Nibiru, Dark Ruler, Rocket Synchron, Quick Launch, and Droll. A lot to go second cards and pretty good engine cards, so we'll see how this game plays out. Looks pretty good for Dragon Link here. So they're actually going to normal summon Jackalope, which is going to trigger the Kagamucha Knight. I do wonder if they're playing Edgem Sabers to put back Red Ice Fusion, because that is something that I've definitely tested out. But we're going to go ahead and go for Cherubini here. And then Cherubini effect is going to send a copy of Graph and then summon out Seer. And then going to link those away for a copy of Rusty. And then Seer going to bring back the Cherubini. Probably worth activating Nibiru here. Yeah, going to use it. That's going to tribute away the board. But thankfully for the PK player, there is a Reborn waiting here. So yeah, Reborn going to bring back the Rusty. And then going to activate the effect. That's going to mill a copy of the Silent Boots, and then set a copy of Fall Blade from deck. And then going to add a copy of Fall Blade off of the Silent Boots. And then going to activate Drill and Resolution. So that is pretty good. Pretty good for PK, that is, because I don't know if there was going to be more searching there. Yeah, just going to go ahead and set a couple cards. Set everything, actually, and then pass. We're going to see a top decked World Legacy Guard Dragon for turn. So Dark Ruler is actually kind of just off right now. They're going to normal summon the Rocket Synchron and then go into a copy of Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon effect is going to search for a copy of Boot Sector Launch. And then they have the same two extenders as last game, actually, so that's quite good. Battle phase, they're actually going to attack into the token and then attack into the Rusty as well. And then thinking of main phase 2 here. They're actually just going to pass. They know one of the sets is Fall Blade. Was there a reason to not go into Seal there? I feel like Seal, if you didn't want to commit, that's like reasonable. But I think Seal is a good enough card to just fall back on. Because it like is a pretty good sort of like contingency. Like you're going to like Word Legacy Guard Dragon back. And like even if they don't commit, you can just bounce back your own Word Legacy Guard Dragon, which is good. Not sure. We're going to see a top deck Ash return. Gonna activate Red Ice Fusion here. That is definitely quite good. Going to send materials to summon out Dragoon. I don't think this is game though. Gonna use the effects to pop the board. That's gonna deal 4,000 damage. This is definitely not game by itself. So yeah, going to attack for 3k. And now this Dark Ruler is looking pretty nice. Gonna go ahead and pass. We're gonna see a top deck Collapse Serpent, which is nice because it's Nibiru's Engrave. So I think you have to make your push pretty soon here. Gonna activate Dark Ruler. And then activate Boot Sector Launch. Going to use the effect that's going to summon from Grave a Rocket Synchron. And then going to banish the Nibiru for the Collapse Serpent. And then link those off for a copy of Fiber. So going to trigger both those effects. So going to Ash the Collapse Serpent, it looks like, because that was Channeling 2. And then going to Fall Blade the Fiber as Channeling 4. So what looks like Guard Dragon is going to hit the board next. That's going to bring back the Rocket Synchron, but going to chain it to, or chain Call by the Grave to banish it. So pretty good. Kind of surprised, actually, because you do have to declare the effect with the Brute Sector launch. You have to specify which one you're using. So with that in mind, like this could have been used earlier on the initial Brute Sector activation. So that's something to kind of think about is like try and clarify, you know, if your opponent has a type of effect that says like you can activate one of like these effects, you just want to make sure you know which one they're using. Because obviously like you don't know if they're going to use the hand effect or the special from grave effect if they don't specify. But we're going to see Quick Launch come down next. That's going to summon out a Rocket Tracer. And then going to be thinking, going to use Tracer actually. That's going to target the Brute Sector, summon out the Recharger. Going for LP next, and then going to use the Vortex Guard Dragon to move it. And the LP is going to activate. We will see a Fall Blade, chain to that. And then next up, will we see a Pisty? I'm not really sure what you go for after that. We are Dark Locked as well. You're going to link off into Pisty with the Recharger and then Pisty effect. I'm trying to like comprehend what they're saying in chat. I didn't use Tracer effect. You did on the spell. True. I mean on the spell. Yeah. They already used the Tracer. Okay. But Tracer should be in the middle zone here. That was right back off the Pisty. Gonna link into a copy of Sword. And then try and go for game here. It definitely won't be because Fall Blade can block, although it's not ideal to do so. We're going to go Battle Phase, attack for... Oh yeah, there's no game because Dark Ruler. I totally forgot for some reason. It's just clearing the Dragoon, so this definitely is PK's game because we can end phase, bring back Rusty, and that should be the end of the game. End phase, going to Fall Blade back to Rusty and then draw for turn. It's a Torn Scale, which is pretty good. Gonna be thinking here, activating Rusty. That's gonna send Ancient Cloak to set a copy of Fog Blade, and then going to activate the Ancient Cloak to grab a copy of the Silent Boots, and then normal summon Torn Scale, special summon Silent Boots, and then overlay for the Break Sword. And then Rusty gets to trigger. That's going to pop the Boros Sword. Gonna chain Boros Sword to put the Break Sword into the defense position, and then going to be thinking. Going to go ahead and activate Break Sword. That's going to target itself and the Vortex Guard Dragon. Break Sword going to bring back 2. And then going to overlay those for a copy of Raiders Knight. So playing this package. And then going to go ahead and summon out Arc Rebellion off the Raiders Knight. The opponent's getting a little bit frustrated here. Are there more targets for the Tracer? There could be a second copy of Rocket Synchron. We did see that in game 2. So, I mean, definitely good to, you know, just play as if your opponent still has a way to survive. Going to go ahead and go into battle phase. Just summon I have no nib. I was surprised by the 2 Rocket Synchron. Well, alright, so this opponent was a little bit upset. There was the second Rocket Synchron, like, definitely could have been used to summon in defense position. I mean... Oh, to be fair, they're only on 1,000, right? Yeah, they're only on 1,000, so I think it was game no matter what. Yeah, okay, that's actually fair. I forgot they were only on 1,000. But yeah, anyways, that was a pretty interesting game, or a pretty interesting end to that game, I should say. Lots of back and forth there for sure. But yeah, we see Family Knights taking this one 2-1. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like as well as any thoughts or feedback in the comments. Subscribe for more foreign and competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. If you want to, you can follow me on all social media platforms or support me with the links in the description box as usual. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.